Members of the U.S. women's national soccer team are among the first athletes to take part in a protest at the Tokyo Olympics. They joined several other teams yesterday taking a knee on the field at the start of their opening games to oppose racism. Newly relaxed Olympic rules allow the athletes to express themselves before the start of competition. It's part of a long history of protesting at these games. Jonathan Vigliotti spoke to a man who changed history with his Olympic protest back in the day.
The year was 1968. American sprinter John Carlos, joined by Tommie Smith, stood on the Olympic medal podium in Mexico City, their fists raised high into the air as the national anthem belted through the stadium.
Why am I being defiant? Because I felt like as a young individual, I represented America. But at the same time, America seems like it doesn't want me to represent self. And that's a distaste in my mouth and in my mind.
It was a silent call for civil rights heard around the world, and one only made possible because of the stage on which he stood.
You know, I could have gone in front of the Apollo Theater. I was raised in Harlem. I could have gone there. I could have been in Europe and made a statement, but the statement would not reach the masses that I'm trying to reach. I'm not the only person as a black man in peril here in the United States. There are people of color that's in peril around the world. We need to send a message out to give them hope as well, that we're fighting for a better day for all people. The medal had no significance to me. That was my ticket to reach the victory stand. And that was my essence and purpose of going to the Olympic Games, was to make a statement, not to win a medal or show the world how great I was in track and field.
So for you, taking that platform and using it to send your message was more important than even placing to begin with.
Absolutely. It was just as important today as it was back at that time. I'm committed to this. I'm not in here for the moment. I'm in here for the movement.
That movement has exploded since that momentous day 53 years ago. From Colin Kaepernick's kneel, to NBA and WNBA players locking arms, to hammer thrower Gwen Berry looking away from the American flag at these Olympic trials.
Gwen Berry is a symbol of defiance. You know, her symbol is like John Lewis said, she created good trouble. Understand? And that's something that you should be proud of, particularly when a people or a race of people are in the fire. Many individuals run when in that crisis situation, but there are certain individuals that stand tall for all those individuals that stood as well as those that ran.
This year, the International Olympic Committee announced new rules for the Games that will still deter these acts. They allow athletes to protest before their events, but not during competition or on the podium. Punishments will vary case by case.
It's a really difficult balancing act.
Doug Hartman is a sociology professor and expert on athlete activism at the University of Minnesota. He expects protests at these games across the spectrum of human rights causes.
I think it's a really catch-22 tough spot that the Olympic movement has put itself in by making grand claims about its progressive role in the world, but also thinking that that happens kind of naturally and organically, when in fact, I think an awful lot of sports progressive forces come through conflict, through people speaking out and protesting.
That's the message of John Carlos, that speaking out can help bring unity and respect to all, no matter the pedestal from which it comes.
I didn't pull my pants down, show my butt. I didn't give the finger. I didn't do anything that was distasteful. I think what I did was very educational. It was very thought-provoking.
If you could give a word to the fist up in the air, what would it be?
Well, in essence, the fist is this. If you look at that hand, it's an open hand. But when you sit back and think about how frail this is as 5 individuals. But think about when these 5 individuals come together, how powerful they be. That was the essence of the fist. It wasn't about black power. It was about unity amongst people that have the right mindset.
For CBS This Morning, Jonathan Vigliotti, Los Angeles.
Wow. So powerful, John Carlos. It's a shame that we're still having this conversation all these years later. But I thought it was an interesting point that he made. I was just trying to get a message across.
I'd never heard that before either.
Me
I mean,
either.
it's hard to understate how shocking that protest was in 1968. And because people didn't do that sort of thing in sport. What we've learned now in the current age is is how many athletes are willing to do that and how important it is to force change.
Yeah, fighting for a better day for all people. That's
Yeah.
what he said to Jonathan Vigliotti, and he's still doing that today.
It's an uncomfortable conversation for a lot of people, but it's a conversation that we really do have to have.
Yeah, well done, John.
Good to hear
That's
from
great.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
excellent.